Kombat 1 Khaos Reigns has been out for almost a week. I beat it, and I have some thoughts. Before we get into the story part of it, let's talk about everything else, because this update wasn't just the story expansion. It got new characters, Towers of Time, you f***ing animality, store updates. So let's get into it. First off, we got the new characters. Upon release, we instantly got Noob, Cybot, Cyrex, and Sector to coincide with their roles in the story. And all of them are great. I especially love Noob because, again, he's just freaking cool. Everything he does is super stylish and looks rad as hell. The constant one-man double teams scratch a particular itch in my brain that I can't really describe, and playing against him is really fun. Also, you very quickly unlock new masks and hoods that don't look as funky as his default headwear, so that's a plus. Cyrex, honestly, to me, is the weakest of the three, but I still like her. Her foam is a fun new gimmick, kind of passively replacing the Cybernet and Practical Use. She's not bad at all. And Sector is the one that I'm surprised I liked at all. Historically, I haven't been the biggest Cyber fan. Not that I disliked them, but I wasn't actively upset when they were missing. And of the three, Sector is probably my least favorite. But in this game, I like Sector a whole lot more than I did before. Mostly talking gameplay here, not necessarily appearance or lore. We might touch on that later. But yeah, all three of those folks are winners, and I'm looking forward to Ghostface T1000 and Conan. Oh, speaking of Ghostface, this is just, I've been wondering what this was. This is just my Shaggy Man Behind the Slaughter picture that I had autographed by Matthew Lillard at FanX. Just, not bragging or anything, just thought you'd be interested. Towers of Time!
I'm back, baby!
The Tower of Time is here, and I couldn't be happier. They were a perfect system.
It was perfect. Perfect.
A simple, straightforward, engaging way to keep people interested in the continuously updating game. They have 9 different towers you can hit at any point. They add a TOT challenger that you can complete for cosmetics, power-ups, normal currency, and dragon crystals, aka premium currency. Overall, I'm glad they're back. I've been playing through them for funsies and having a good time, although the return of TOT does make the lack of customizations of MK1 stand out a bit more, because that's one of the best things about TOT and 11, was a lot of them were like, ooh, I want that piece, palette, intro, etc. There's still a bit of that now, but not as much as there used to be. Also, they updated Invasion mode again, and bless their hearts, they are trying so hard. I blame them 0% for trying something new and working their hearts to improvement, but yeah. Animalities. Without a doubt, the flashiest and most publicized part of this entire update, which you probably should have taken as a bad sign for the story part. These are great. Everyone gets one, and it was a pleasant surprise, because I don't think anybody expected Animalities to make a freaking comeback. Then we have the store updates. You can now use seasonal tokens to unlock new brutalities. And they aren't time locked, but they're very expensive, which is fair. Just gotta play a bunch, and eventually you unlock new brutals for your favorite combatants. Additionally, there's a bunch of new costumes, and they're putting out more soon. Awooga, and the prices aren't too bad, so not bad. Then we have the reason you probably clicked on this video, the story. It's been less than a week, so I'll give the spoiler-free version of what I think real quick. It was a 5.5 out of 10. Too short, some good ideas weren't capitalized onto their fullest potential. The characters featured and or how they were featured was suspect to say the least, and the ending was awful. If you want to skip over the spoiler parts and just get to my, final verdict of this whole thing, go to this time code. Otherwise, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. What happened to Titan Havoc? What happened to Titan Havoc? The main villain of this DLC. The guy who wanted to plunge all realms in endless chaos. The guy who people have been wanting to have a big, meaningful role in the series for the last 20 years, and this was his moment to shine, is defeated by not the main character, and his ultimate fate assumedly happens off-screen. Thank God! We got to see the resolution to Cyrex's "I'm sorry for crushing your wedding" storyline, but not the fate of the main villain. They got their priorities right here. And let's talk about the actual Titan Havoc fight. How did they defeat him? Well, they beat Titan Havoc, the guy who was built to be the second most powerful Time Titan in the multiverse. The guy whose entire gimmick is not just ripping off his own limbs, but at the end it is shown that he can make clones of himself by ripping off his own limbs. Well, he is defeated, of course, by having his limbs torn off. And not even by Liu Kang. It's not like he got chronica'd. It was by Noob Saibot. I love Noob Saibot. I think most people do. But in what world, what universe, what multiverse is Noob Saibot strong enough to beat a literal god? Oh, but I know his thoughts, his fighting style. Bruh. I could watch and study every single fight Mike Tyson has ever had, analyze every punch he's ever thrown frame by frame. I'm still not kicking Mike Tyson's ass. Noob Saibot, historically, has lost 9 out of 10 canon fights he's ever had. But he was the one who whipped Titan Havoc's ass, with no prior justification. There wasn't like a scene where they went, holy crap, Havoc confused Bihan with the power of 10,000 Liu Kangs. And actually, his clone, that is the spectral representation of the great Kung Lao. No, he was just issued a pass, given a sidekick, and boom, he can kill God now. And after all that, Liu Kang is going to un-Saibot Bihan. Which means that in this new era, and after all that build into Khaos Reigns, Noob Saibot is going to have existed for one afternoon. Dear f***ing Elder Gods. Then, the final cherry on top of this abomination. No teaser, no hint, no after credit scene, nothing. What's next for the Mortal Kombat story that we look forward to? Is Onaga going to come back? Is General Shao going to become Shao Kahn? Does Blaze exist? Will Shinnok find his own personal MacGuffin and make a run at Liu Kang? Does Raiden have a really aggressive hemorrhoid that's going to turn him evil? Duh. I would have bet both my balls and half my penis that this story was going to end with some sort of tease for Onaga at the least, but nope, literally nothing. And that's just my complaints about the ending. Let's get into the actual story stuff, like the Army Man Cage that we all saw and thought, ooh, it's Johnny but coming off a movie set. Nope, that's just Johnny Cage, but if in Havoc's universe he had been born in time to enlist in World War II. And why didn't Liu Kang send in his crew? Johnny Cage, Kenshi, Kung Lao, Ashura, Baraka, Reptile, the people who'd recruited during MK1 that he had invested his trust into. Sure, you want to focus on the new characters, that's fine. He explains why he can't go in because if something happens to him, the whole timeline's screwed, right? But why weren't the old reliables there at all? We spent an inordinate amount of time with Alt Universe Straight Tanya. You know how in the chapters of the MK stories, you get 4, maybe 5 fights while controlling a character, then you switch over to someone else? Well, forget that, because non-gay Tanya gets 8 fights. Why? And a quick note on the fights. A weirdly high number of them are, you're gonna fight X with Y as a cameo. And then immediately afterwards, you're gonna fight Y with X as a cameo. You fight the same pair of characters back to back a significant number of times. It is almost every fight. And in this universe, Tanya is married to Rain, who sacrifices himself in the pursuit against Havoc. But I mean, it's not our Rain who deeply regrets his actions in working alongside Titan. Havoc is looking to redeem himself, and it would make thematic sense for him to be the one to make the noble sacrifice in the pursuit of defeating a Havoc. Nope. Different Rain, so you don't really care when he makes that sacrifice. Let's also talk about some of the characters from the MK1 story who got no meaningful or any representation whatsoever. Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, General Shao, Kung Lao, Raiden, Ashura, Baraka, Dagon, Jax, Madame Bo! They make a reference to Shao's rebellion a dozen times, but nothing significant ever actually happens or is shown. And why did they, the MK crew, drop that Sector is Madame Bo's daughter? Tickle our taints with lore about one of the fan-favorite characters from the MK1 story if she's not even going to be mentioned in the expansion. They were even Sector's dad like 8 times, but Madame Do, not even once. She wasn't even at Scorpion's wedding. And there is more I could probably complain about. Like how Cyrax's entire character in this story could be boiled down to the phrase, I'm sorry I helped ruin your wedding, Scorpion. But you get the point. I was not a fan, maybe I'm too picky, I don't know. My overall opinion on this, despite its flaws and accounting for its strength, was Khaos Reigns what I would consider a good update? Absolutely. The only real negatives I have to say are about the story stuff and the price, and that's not even really all bad. Just had some real low points. Everything else though, every cosmetic they had is fantastic. All the new stages are baller, all the new outfits are phenomenal, the new Cybot announcer is great, the Towers of Time are nice to have back, the Invasions mode is more accessible and easier to get through than ever, and Mollies are fun. The online functionality was a welcome addition. Choose cameos, which I didn't really even touch on, were, again, welcome. And again, new brutalities for every character was awesome. Even the story, if you don't really care as much as I do, are just looking for more MK content and willing to brush off the finer details, it's fun and has some great moments. The entire Khaos Reigns update I would give an 8 out of 10, and both of those missing points are entirely because of the writing and various flaws in the story mode, which I think is more than fair since, you know, that's what the update was named after. Do I think that Khaos Reigns will save Mortal Kombat 1? I don't. Outside of the guests, I don't see too much here that's really gonna light a fire under the 7 million people who bought 11, but didn't bother with this game. But for those of us who are currently here, and again, don't mind shelling out the extra $60, it's good. What do you think about this update though? Let me know.